Hello, Charles from the Bible Unbound. And today we're going to take a look at something that my wife recommended, which is the Christian Ethics book by Wayne Grudem. So in my library, I have a copy of the Oxford Companion to Christian Thought. Now this is a pretty big compendium that has a vast array of topics in it. And they're all full, straight articles. While they might touch on multiple topics, this is actually a really good jumping off point for a lot of Christian theology. Now, Wayne Grudem has actually went a little bit more in depth in this, and I like his takes. He backs everything up with sound scripture, and not only does he present the argument, he sometimes presents the counter argument in some of these as well. And I really like his approach, because after the argument and laying out the foundation, he has at the end of each of the chapters some application questions in order to basically learn how to apply this sort of thing in your everyday life. Like, one of my favorite Bibles is the Life Application Study Bible, which kind of goes into scripture and teaches you how to apply it to your everyday life. Now, this has some simple questions in here to kind of make you think more of it and challenge your worldview in a few things. So as we get into this, we'll start to see how he lays this out. And in the beginning, he has a couple of quick questions that kind of get you primed on what he's talking about here. So you have, where did the Bible's ethical standards come from? Why do we think they are valid? And do these ethical standards apply to all people in all societies at all times? So he's trying to get onto some foundational beliefs and backing them up with scripture to show how, as Christians, we should be thinking about these sort of topics. Not that we should be following these, dogmatically, but with the scripture to back them up, that gives you some very sound reasoning on why we actually have some of the thoughts we have on the topics of the day. So he goes out from each question, point by point. He usually starts with a prayer. Then he goes into the base text. Now, he cites everything in here. So he has all of his actual cites of where his sources are. He gives you scriptural references as he's talking through. So it's kind of like when you listen to an expositional sermon when somebody's giving it, they actually break down, why these are being discussed, what specific scripture references relate to what you're actually reading. These topics are fairly in-depth, but they're easy to read in a fairly short period of time. Now, at the very end of each of these chapters, he breaks down some of these questions for personal application. So this kind of primes you to give you an idea of how you should be thinking toward it, and if you're lining up with it. He defines any special terms, gives a section of other ethical texts that are related to this specific topic that he's talking about, a list of other works. Nice scripture memory passage. Almost every single one of them, I think, has this. And they also have a relatable hymn in here that is related to what you're reading, which is pretty nice. So he does this for each of the chapters as they go. There are some that I actually want to dive a lot more into, and I want to take a look at some more of his references in here. And as we look at the topics, since there are 42 topics on here, and it's pretty in-depth, I think this would make a really good addition to a small group and their studies. Now, I can see myself using this in my reading plan for a Bible study for a small group, and my men's group especially here. Now, there's some really weighty topics, and we tend to get into some interesting discussions, and this would be a great tool to help you, dive even deeper and kind of get this more of a handle on how we should be thinking about the topics of the day. And I really do like this. It's not an overly expensive read, But if you dive into his references and his secondary readings, there is a lot to uncover here. And I do like that he takes some hard stances, which there are going to be people that are not going to agree with it. Just like as you're doing your Christian walk, you are going to have people that will be against you. And this would be a good step toward trying to get some more of those fundamental beliefs of why we believe what we do. And especially if you want to learn more about the topics that are covered in this book. This is one I would definitely recommend picking up, especially if you're doing a life group or if you're a life group leader. This would be an excellent tool to take a look at. So with that, the construction wise, it is a hardcover that is pretty solid all the way around. I'll go back to an overhead and see if my overhead's calmed down a little bit here. So it's hardcover, pretty solid, sets on the your shelf, pretty nice. It's a little over 1,000 pages total, 1,300 pages with your subject index. Really well laid out, very readable, and there's plenty of margin space in here that if you wanted to take notes or do anything like that, there's plenty of room in here. And I have a feeling, I know some people that would be taking notes. I'm going to be using the little flags, and we're going to put this to some very good use. And we do especially thank Crossway for providing this for us to take a look at and to show you guys this. So with that, we're going to end this video. As always, we ask you to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you like this or if you have any other suggestions for us to bring to the rest of our viewers here. So until we see you again, we hope you have a good day, night, evening, wherever you are. And we hope to see you in the next video.